FM, the Pike, Worcester's Rock Station, and Poison at 8:37. So we were talking about the automatic ball and strike system. They just started using this week at Polar Park. They've used it in other parts of the minor leagues, and it's a system that will call the balls and strikes. And I want to know how they're going to work with the umpires on this. We had a lot of questions. And Katie Morrison-O'Day is a sports writer for Mass Live. She covers the Woo Sox. She wrote an excellent article on this, and she's joining us right now. Katie, how you doing this morning?
I'm doing great. I'm happy to talk to you guys.
We appreciate that because I'm, obviously talking out of my butt. So we needed an expert's opinion. You wrote a great article on this. So, my first question is the system going to make the calls and the umpires have to go along with it, or is it just something the umpires can use in case there's a dispute?
So my answer for probably a few questions is it's going to depend on the day because the umpires are beholden to the ABS system. They really have the home plate umpire has no input on Tuesdays through Thursdays, so the non-challenge games, which we'll talk about in a minute.
Yeah, the challenge thing is crazy.
It is, but so if we're just talking strictly Tuesday through Thursday, the umpire just when the ball comes in, when the pitch comes in, he gets the call in his ear, and then he is just strictly relaying the call. And I asked the home plate umpire on Tuesday night, were there any pitches that you might have called different? And he said only one, or that's what he said, maybe one, but they have no input. They just have to call what it calls. Yeah.
Katie, we've seen that box that they put on television for years, and they show us
the Amica strike zone,
if
as
a
Rem
ball
used to call
is
it,
in or out of the strike zone. And I've always argued that the box doesn't change size, determined if the player's 5'6" or if the player's 6'5". So, does the strike zone change determined by the size of the player, or is it the same for everybody? Do you know that answer?
I'm not positive, but I believe it does change per player because that's the thing. There haven't really been any complaints from what I've heard, so I think that it's a pretty tight system. It's a pretty, the strike zone is pretty tight to each player.
The width doesn't change. It's what, knees to letters? Is that?
Yeah.
That's the height?
Usually.
Yeah.
But see, that was the fun part. It depended on the umpire. That was the variable in every single baseball game is how the ump saw it. But it's shocking to me that they're just going to stand out there and wait for that call and then relay it. Why even have them out there, Well,
it's a good point, yeah.
Because they could do it with, someone sliding into home. They could just put a camera out there.
Yeah, so he's basically waiting for someone for a close play at home plate to call out. That's about it.
Right. But then again, as Katie mentioned, that's Tuesday through Thursday, right?
Because it's so weird.
The challenge system is so bizarre to me. So Tuesday through Thursday, you can't challenge the ABS system. But Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, it's kind of like a similar thing to football, right? You have a number of challenges, right?
Right. So each team will have 3 challenges, and if you win your challenge, you retain them. So, if you're good at challenging, I suppose they can be unlimited. But if you lose them, you lose them. So you can only lose 3. So what happens is the umpire is going to call the game as normal, and so the coaches can't initiate a challenge. The only people that can initiate a challenge are pitchers, catchers, and batters.
Oh, that's interesting. So the players will initiate the challenge.
Right. So it's not like other baseball challenges where they're looking to the dugout and they're looking at the monitor. It's supposed to be, we haven't seen it yet, but it's supposed to be very instantaneous. As soon as the call is made, basically a dispute is initiated, a challenge is initiated. And so then what happens, and this is going to be really fun to see, is the replay will be put up on the Jumbotron, the big board.
Oh my God.
Park.
They want to start a riot?
Yeah, so we are going to get live feedback. And so fans can give their opinion. I've read a little bit, this was used in like the Arizona Fall League, and I've read, players are kind of giving it to each other if they're wrong or whatever. The umpires, they brag a little bit if they're right. So it's very interactive. So then the ABS system that's in place from Tuesday through Thursday will kick in like it would, and they'll give the call to the umpire who will then announce it.
Did someone tell you why they're doing it that way? Like, why can they only challenge on the weekends?
I'm not sure. It's interesting because, for example, in the Arizona Fall League, I believe that they were doing it all that way, all challenge games. So it just kind of feels like an experiment to see which works better and to see if this challenge system, does work out, I think they want it to be fun and interactive and bring this like level of excitement. So it will be interesting to see if that showing it in front of the crowd on the Jumbotron and getting the fans' reaction, that's kind of a WWE element.
I love everything about that because the fans are giving their opinion anyway.
Yeah, anyway,
even
right?
if they're sitting next to the foul line the outfield, they're yelling, "Come on, that was a strike!"
Adding fuel to the fire,
exactly,
for crying out loud. Well, this is very interesting. So this is from now on at Polar Park, right? For the rest of the season, we're going to be dealing with the ABS system.
Yep, that's right. For the rest of the season.
Wow.
It's going to hold the umps accountable.
Texter has an important question. Tuesday through Thursday, will the umpires still be able to toss the managers, or are they going to have to depend on the ABS system for that?
That was actually one of our first questions for Woozok's manager, Chad Tracy. And he's such a nice guy. He said that's not one of his favorite parts of the game. That's not something he's going to miss is, at least cutting down the amount of time he's going to argue. But, what's crazy is just watching players walk away and there's no one to complain to. What are you going to yell at the umpire for, the call that the robot ump is making?
Yeah.
They just kind of have nowhere for that frustration to go.
That's the whole
kind
point.
Of an interesting thing. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm going to have to adjust my whole stream of abuse I'm throwing at the umpires now. Mm-hmm. Like I'm going to have to figure out new insults. What's mama telling you in your ear or something like that. I don't know. I'm going to have to think up a whole bunch of new things to throw at the
They're
umps
basically
now.
becoming high-paid ball boys now. Their job is now to throw a new ball back to the pitcher.
Yeah, that's so weird. Oh, well, Katie, listen, thank you for your insights on this. It's going to be very interesting. I'm going to be heading over to the park tonight, and hopefully I'll see you over there. But I want to see how this all goes down. And then I'll try to get to a game this weekend to see how the fun ABS system handles the game for the weekend, So, but
yeah, it's just interesting.
But thank you very much for taking the time this morning, Katie Morrison-O'Day, a sports writer for Mass Live. She covers the Woo Sox, does a great job. Make sure you read her there and say hello to your husband, Patio Furniture. Tell him I said hi. All right.
Will do. Thank you so much for having me, guys.
All right. Thanks, Katie. Again, Katie Morrison-O'Day from Mass Live here on the Pike.